Well, House Democrats took a historic step towards possibly impeaching President Donald Trump. Hi, I'm Ben Felder here in the Oklahoman's video studios. Joining me is reporter Chris Castile. And Chris, today, Thursday, October 31st, along partisan lines, the House voted to essentially establish the rules for an impeachment process. Give us a quick explainer of what exactly happened. What exactly did House Democrats, all but two, voted to do today?
What they voted to do is open up this investigation that they're doing. It still is an inquiry, as they call it, to the public. So from now on, when they have witnesses testify, if there's any kind of staff questioning, member questioning of witnesses, that we'll be able to watch it, which we haven't been able to do before.
Yeah, the last couple of weeks, these questionings have been taking place behind closed doors. What we know has been leaks or opening statements that have been made public or at least presented to the media. Locally here, a lot of interest was in what Congresswoman Kendra Horn, the first-term Congresswoman, the only Democrat from Oklahoma, what she would do. It seemed like the House Democrats had more than enough votes to proceed, but Horn is one of those Democrats that maybe has to think about her vote a little bit, coming from what's been traditionally a red district. You broke the story on Wednesday that Horn said that she was going to back this, vote yes, and she did today.
Right, she did. She, and again, she is still saying this is. I made no determination about whether I would vote to impeach the president, but this is a process that the House is allowed to do under the Constitution. She made the point too that a lot of Democrats are making is that the Republicans have try to compare this to the Nixon and Clinton impeachment processes. But both of those were done by special counsels. By the time the Clinton, the investigation of Clinton got to the House of Representatives, Ken Starr and that whole team of special counsel, they'd been on that for several months. The whole Monica Lewinsky, everything behind it. Paula Jones' testimony, everything. This is the House doing this on its own. The House is conducting this on its own. It's 4 different committees that have been involved in it so far. So basically what they do, they're just trying to lay out the rules for getting more information about it, which she says she supports. But the Republican political angle on that is that she's basically supporting a witch hunt of the President of the United States. They're trying to overturn an election.
Yeah, I can remember right when she was first elected, we were talking about what are some of the things that she's going to have to face, at least in her first 2 years. One of the things was a possible impeachment vote, and that may be a tough one for her. Like you said, this isn't a vote for impeachment, but it does put her on the record. As you say, Republicans are going to cast this as her siding with what they see as a unnecessary and invalid investigation. What does this mean for her politically going into an election year when many people think this is going to be a highly competitive seat?
Well, I think a lot's going to change between now and next November. I mean, I don't think she's going to have any problem being renominated. So we really are a year away from, and ultimately in the scheme of things, I don't know where this vote would fit in because it's the next vote. It's the vote for impeachment, if there is one. There's I think this kind of widespread and probably valid assumption that this is going to lead to the impeachment of Donald Trump, but it hasn't led there yet. So, the vote today, the Republican campaign committee, some of the Republicans running against Horn or blasting her, but this vote will be forgotten when it comes to the vote on impeachment. So it's just another. It's just another step in a process that's not anywhere near complete.
Yeah, there'll probably be another big vote for her to face on this issue, at least one going forward. So the rest of Oklahoma's delegation, Republicans, joining their party and trying to discredit or at least complain about this investigation. And I know Representative Cole spoke on the matter today on the House floor, and another member of the delegation actually kind of went after Congresswoman Horn today on Twitter.
Right. Tom Cole, Representative Tom Cole, Republican from Moore. His district includes a lot of central and southern Oklahoma counties. He actually led the Republican side of the debate today, complaining about the process, saying that it's not fair as it's set up, and that it won't be legitimate. It will never be seen as a legitimate inquiry because this process isn't fair. There's 5 U.S. House members from Oklahoma. Kendra Horn, Representative Horn, is the only Democrat. The other 4 are Republicans. All 4 voted against this resolution today about the next steps in the impeachment inquiry. And the one who represents most of eastern Oklahoma, 20-something, I think, counties or more in eastern Oklahoma, Representative Markwayne Mullen, basically went right after Horn on Twitter, challenging the things that Horn was saying on Twitter about the process that's being established by this resolution, contradicting what she says about the process. How what the rules are for the president's participation in. Highly unusual for a member to just go at another member of a state delegation like that. They always have disagreements, in a bipartisan delegation. They're always going to have disagreements, but you don't really. Yeah. It's highly unusual for him to have done that in such a public way on Twitter. But he's one of Trump's biggest supporters in the House, always has been.
Yeah, you're right. A big advocate for the president. Even last week joined other Republicans in trying to kind of storm the secure area in the Capitol. A typical play for him. How significant, going back to Congressman Cole, how significant was that he kind of led the Republicans today? Because he is seen as, I don't necessarily want to describe him as a moderate, but more, he hasn't been the fierce defender of the president that we've seen on cable television and taking to social media. Has been a defender and has been a supporter of the president, but is seen as maybe more of possibly a more measured Republican in a way. How significant was it that he was leading the Republicans' charge?
Well, it was by virtue of his position as the top Republican on the House Rules Committee. But you're right. I mean, he's not Markwayne Mullen at Markwayne Mullen's level of support for President Trump. And in fact, I did followed him around on some town hall meetings, and I guess it was in August when they were in recess, and he was just hammered by a lot of people, angry about his defense of Trump, or angry that he didn't speak out against the president more than he does. That was especially acute in Norman, which he represents. But he's a Republican, and he's by virtue of being on the Rules Committee, and his seniority and the respect that he has within the caucus, he's a leader of the Republican Party. I don't think it'll hurt him in his district. Probably a lot of the people in Norman and some of the other areas that might have a strong anti-Trump contingent, and will be outnumbered by all the rural areas that he has that are pro-Trump. Yeah.
Largely the argument from Republicans has been about the process. I mean, there have been some that have defended the president by saying he didn't do anything wrong, or some of these reports are not accurate. But most of them have argued against the process. The Democrats have taken this step. Like you said, this will be more in the public. Republicans still said they disagreed with the progress, but our process. But we are going to now start to see more things in public. We're going to see these testimonies and stuff, and the politics will remain on show. But what are you looking forward here in the next few weeks as this becomes more of a public process? I mean, Republican members here in Oklahoma are now going to be asked to defend specific allegations that everyone's going to be able to see for themselves.
And that's a really good point. I mean, they have made this process argument as this inquiry has been, going on with people at the White House, even on the national security team have been testifying about this, and the Republicans have focused almost totally on the process. I'm not really clear, Ben, once they begin this next phase that is more public, whether the same witnesses are called again. So I'm not really clear on who we're going to hear from exactly, but it will be much harder for people who are against this whole effort by the Democrats. It will be harder for them, I think, to complain constantly about the process if you do have people testifying as they are in public, as they are now behind closed doors, and you actually have questions of evidence being before the public, rather than just, is this fair to President Trump?
Yeah, well, it has felt for a long time that we've been on this path towards a House impeachment vote. It seemed like we took a step towards that today. And this is just going to be kind of the lens in which we view, it has been the lens in which we've looked at almost every political storyline in the country. And we'll be here in Oklahoma, in the 5th Congressional District, Horn seeking re-election, the Republican primary on the other side that will get set and start to really pick up steam here in the new year.
Right.
And so just going to be interesting to watch, and we know you'll be on top of it. Chris,
And a lot's going to change.
Yeah,
It'll be
definitely
interesting.
will.
Yeah.
The next year, which will be a long year. So
will
thank
be.
you, Chris.